Yo, it's Caroline. Excited to walk through something I'm deeming a quote unquote failed success. Um, Recently, I came across an old PowerPoint I had made as an application for a data analyst role. And it made me chuckle, and in a minute, you will see why. Um, but it also struck me as quite humbling and also very curious of how life seems to find a way to all work out in the end. Spoiler alert, I did not get the data analyst role, but it ended up being such an informative application process um, that I now get to look back on and see how I've grown in the world of art and design. And it really feels like this period of my life, this application process, um, was a very pinnacle point in that path. So I thought it would be fun to recreate my application and kind of apply some of the principles that I've learned as I've been a student of art and design for the past couple of years. I think I will get too in the weeds, so I'm going to split this up into 3 videos, each with a very particular goal. You can already tell I've laid the groundwork, but there is still a lot of work to be done, a lot of ideas to discuss. And in the first video, this video, I want to kind of hone in on the wireframes, everything that's going to be in this right column. I do want to go over the original application though and talk a little bit about what I learned during that process, what that process kind of like awoke in me. And just in general, this would apply to any video. I will be using Figma commands, and I will be sure to share those and any tips or tricks as they arise. In the second video, it's going to be mostly focused on text, finding the balance, and setting up text styles, the hardest word to say, and adjusting the wireframes accordingly. So as I create the wireframes now, I do that knowing that is just the first version and I might have to iterate. And then finally, when I'm feeling comfortable that the text is readable, it is following some of the best practices that I've learned, and the wireframes and flow fit nicely within that, it will be time to talk about setting up a style system and making the stylistic choices when it comes to color, and then putting it on any finishing touches. So across those 3 videos, I hope to turn this application into something still on brand, a lot of fun, but maybe a little less chaotic, as you're about to see. So let's dive in right into kind of lessons that I learned creating this original application, and I can zoom in on this one. In Figma, just to let you know, I am still very much a student of Figma, a student of design, and I want all my presentations to be in Figma so that I can get as comfortable as I can with it. I will probably be giving a lot of beginner tips, but I know that is exactly what I needed and what I wanted when I first got the platform. So right away, you saw me zoom in and you saw me zoom out. And on my Mac keyboard, I hit Command, and then on my mouse, I'm zooming in or out. And then you saw the cursor switch to a hand so that I can move around without moving any of the elements. And that is done by hitting the space bar. All right, so basically, I was going down a path where I wanted to be more on the data side of things, and it should have been very telling when I was told to write a 2-page paper, and I was like, no, thank you. Can I make this very pretty? And while I did make it pretty, it's chaos, and we're gonna dive into that. There's just basically two things that I want to just go over from a bird's eye view. Probably from the bird's eye view, is I was given, because I wanted to be on brand, I was given these 6 colors. And by given, it was just the brand colors that I knew. And I had no sense of hierarchy. I had no sense of balance. So I just used them where I thought they could be used. And so you can see there's a lot going on, even just looking at it color-wise. I definitely want to keep the fun aspect. These are super bright colors. They do complement each other very well, but even now looking this, I don't want to pair this orange and green together. I don't want this to be super subdued, but I want to make this a little more sophisticated. And then to zoom in a little bit, so that's like low-hanging fruit. Having some logic when it comes to the color system. And then if we zoom in a little bit, another thing that I noticed right away after looking at this that I definitely did not pick up on as I was creating this a couple of years ago was the fact of having like a text system as well. There are so many text sizes and weights and colors, and there was no logic to it. It was, I have to fit this many words in this amount of space, so these will be bigger than this, and I'm going to just squeeze it in wherever I can. And there's really not a rhyme or a reason to even this title being the same size as this title, or the fact that this is surrounded by color and this is not. All of this, I don't know what's going on. All of these words that should have been a trigger for me to just speak a little more concisely, but this is in the past, and I'm really excited to kind of upgrade this application and see where I can take it now. Come on. So if you want to, Figma hack, if you want to select 2 elements at the same time, you can hold Shift down. And then over here, I'll definitely be cleaning this up as I go. One thing that I do want to show right away is I have these 2 elements selected, and I'm going to hit Command G to group them, and I'm going to name them. It's going to be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slide 5 title. We'll just name it that for now. And you see the group, both elements stay separated underneath, so you can still make those additional elements. I might just go through and change some things as you watch along, and I will definitely call out anything that I find interesting. Something that's going on here is I want to shift all of this down, and you can do that by selecting an element and then hitting shift, and that will allow you to select multiple elements at once. I'm not too concerned about like how off kilter this is for right now. I am just worried about getting the text that I need. And I kind of like this, just offsetting a little bit. And something that you'll want to know quite a bit and often is the distance between certain elements. As we stack these, we'll want to know that they are all evenly spaced, and you can do that with the Alt key. If you have a selection and need to know the distance between another element, holding the Alt key down will show that to you. But first, I'm concerned with getting these aligned, so I'm going to do that same thing. Shift, hold, and I'm going to top align them. Shift, hold, top align. And then we have to think of hierarchy. If this was where we need to guide their attention, I want to think about like where am I stuck with doing this alternating. I kind of like it, this back and forth. I want to make that work. But these screenshots are very long, and I have to remember which one goes with which. So this one with the longest one. I like maybe putting this one at the end because it's a glimpse into the future. So let me move this around. And so this obviously is not working out so well. I'm going to see if I can scale it down. To do that, if I were to just move it without hitting K first, and you'll notice that the cursor changed a little bit, and that means I can only scale. I can change the size in proportion to all the sides at the same time. In a future video, we'll talk about auto layout. That if I had auto layout set up, I could group all of these together so that when I reframe, almost like you see with heat map, how heat map is changing as I change the size, but the text box is not following. We can definitely dive into making that happen in future videos, but right now I have a lot of boxes I have to fit together, and I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to accomplish that. But now that I have all this space, I could probably bring Nick Cage back. Yes. Let's see if there is a plugin. Is there like a meme plugin? GIF export. Let's see if that. Am I exporting a gift? No. That's not what I need. Let's run this one. Nick fucking Cage. Oh. Oh. Dude. Make, what's it called? Okay. Again, I wanted this to be fun. We'll just keep it sophisticated. Bring to the front. I know this is now breaking the back and forth, but I'm not putting the finishing details on. Future Caroline is gonna have to figure that one out. But let me take a look. Let me look back and just let's look at the difference between this and this. Like already it makes a lot more sense. There's like a hierarchy, there's reading left to right, you know where to start, where to go. And then it kept that element of fun. With here, we're jumping all over. I don't know where I'm supposed to start, and the arrows help, but it just makes it that much more chaotic. So let me start with this. I really do like how this turned out. So one trick that I learned very recently is how to get like correct sizing. So if I were to create a frame by pressing F on the keyboard, starting here, ending here, and I could divide that by 3, it would give me the exact length that I need. Oh. This one seems pretty good. Now that I'm not doing the alternating, I can probably center this again. With the font, I am going to want to call out this, do a little more, but I think keeping it this simple, it's really like the text and the color that is going to carry this across the finish line. And then this bad boy. All right. These arrows now the same color as the background, so let's change that real fast. And then this is 171, so you can always go up here and change it as well, just to ensure they are indeed the same. And then you can center align these to make sure that the arrow is pointing directly at the middle. And that might tell us what we need to do with the text underneath. Okay, so again, still just in the wireframe mode, not trying to, just putting ideas, seeing what sticks, just cleaning up some things, and just overall it is a bit simplified. I will put some more finesse on it as we go, but taking a look at kind of the organization of it side by side, there's still room for fun, but there's ways to kind of simplify everything and just make it a lot more readable, a lot more enjoyable. And the other thing that I wanted to call out was my use of, and mind you, this was all in PowerPoint, which I'm not, I never got too familiar with that, but I loved these strokes. So I'll probably mess around with that towards the end, but yeah, working on wireframes, kind of keeping your mind open, keeping your options open, being comfortable with Figma. I might do a video of cleaning up layers, but I do think that while I'm keeping a lot of the things the same, I am just making some of these small adjustments to make it overall a more pleasant, easier presentation. Next, we'll be diving into text. We'll have to change up a lot of these as we create and move around styles, but I think we are in a much better place than we were over here. So I will catch you shortly.